That's the reason it's called Black Lives Matter, not All Lives Matter, because everything is going back the way it was. We made that slogan because Black Lives Matter, you know? I'm tired of everybody thinking that it's all lives matter, because yes, all lives matter. Minorities matter. All minorities matter. But we made that because there was so much rioting and like everything, Nazi parties coming out of nowhere. Like, just because we do have somebody in office right now who sparked that, you know? He sparked up the neo-Nazis to come back out, and, you know, we lost a black president, you know? So, I mean, if I would have put something like that in the hallway, I feel like they would judge me in a way. And, I mean, I do use my art to, like, blow off some steam, but I usually write about it. Shoot. I write a lot in a journal. So that's how I get rid of the frustration.
In the book Dear Martin, our character was being told there was no way he got into Yale before a white person because he is black and they are not as smart. Are people assuming things about your ability to get into a good college specifically because of your race?
I don't think so. I mean, I try to come off as intelligent as I possibly can. When I was little, I had problems like tracking, like words in a book. Like, I couldn't track the words. And my teachers, they all thought I was just stupid. They all thought, well, your granddaughter just can't read. And so finally, the school nurse wasn't racist. So she called my grandma up. She's like, take her to an eye doctor. You know? And finally they took me to an eye doctor, and magically I was just getting A's. I was reading perfectly. I was catching up to all the kids in my class. I was scoring higher than the kids in my class. So, yes, I've experienced it, but growing up, my grandma made me watch a lot of movies, like where black women were the main role, and they were professional, and they were dressed nice, and they were smart. They weren't stereotyped. You know, I watched a lot of empowering movies, and I saw some discrimination in movies and stuff, but mostly I watched a lot of you can do it, like you're just as good as anybody else. Like, those are my kind of movies that I like to watch, just so I could, you know, see what I wanted to be. So I've always taken my image and my education very seriously, so I wouldn't be judged as harshly. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you let racist comments affect you, or do you just ignore the racism directed towards you? If so, how do they affect you?
It's funny, because before I came here today, I was thinking, that's probably going to be one of the questions. And last night, I was at a friend's house, and her mom had been drinking a few beers. She was feeling comfortable with me. And I was talking about how when I was little, I had a lot of anger issues and stuff like that, because I did. And she said, and I quote, "You were a fiery black woman." And I was like, or I was just a fiery woman, you know? And then I turned to my friend Cassie, and she's like, no, you were an independent, fiery black woman. Cool. Like, I mean, I don't get bothered by them as much as you'd think I would, but hearing them, I hear them every day. I deal with them every day. But, like, sometimes they catch me off guard because I don't expect that person to say something like that. My friend's mom said that to me, you know? And here's another instance where I was at my friend's house, and her mom had been drinking again. It's a different friend. And she said nigger. Just out of nowhere. And I was just like, I had known her mom for years. And sometimes her mom would make racist jokes, but I looked at her and I was like, okay, like, okay. I've known you forever and you just all of a sudden want to use that word, cool. And then I just kind of like lost a lot of respect for her because I just didn't understand why. You had, like, this woman has 3 black grandchildren and her daughter's best friend is black, but she still feels the need to use racial words like that, you know, towards me. I just didn't understand. The worst thing that anybody could ever say to me was, "You're the whitest black person I've ever met." I hate that. I hate that. Because, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm the whitest black person you met? Just because I'm doing something that resembles what you do on a daily basis. Oh well, I'm human. I do white things. I do black things. Like, I'm just another person, you know? And they're like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. What did you mean it as? You know? Just because I do things that you guys do doesn't mean I'm the whitest black person you've ever met. I'm guessing you haven't met very many black people then. You know? So.
What advice would you give to young kids who are going to grow up in a world of racial tension?
You already asked that.
I already asked that. It's okay.
It's okay.
I think that's it.
Well, we still, now we ask personal questions,
Yeah.
if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Ian, do you have a personal question?
No. Wow. Okay, so in your life, and you have been racially stereotyped. So whenever that happens, you respond in certain ways. So like just in class, do you let it really get to you? Do you tell people that it frustrates you, or do you just like let it go and just want to ignore it?
The best thing to do, it's funny because most people are like, how do you keep a straight face? How do you just deal with it? Well, you just deal with it. You know, when I was little, I would get angry or cry. But I realized that's what they wanted. And that's what my grandma would say. That's what they want. Don't give them what they want. You know? So you have to learn to be strong. You have to learn to, I'm okay, you know? Like, there's no, like, if your teacher is making a racial comment, you either, hey, I'm right here, or you take it like a trooper and you just deal with it. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. If I'm feeling like a fiery black woman, or I'm feeling like a white person, you know? So, I just take it or leave it, you know? Have you guys ever discriminated or used prejudice in your head before?
Say that I haven't, because most likely I have, even though I might not mean to, like, be rude to them. It's just, sometimes you just think of people in a different light.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of, this is why I kind of like I agreed to come and talk to you guys, because I know even I do it. I personally do not like Indians. This is something that I'm just prejudiced towards them. Like, I don't feel great towards them. I don't, like, not good feelings towards them. But I practice what I preach. I treat them with respect. I try not to judge them. Like, why? And I try to, you know, wait to meet people, you know, before I judge them. And I've actually judged black people before. I was in Dick's one time, and this really big, like, buff, like, dark guy came up to talk to me. He was around my age, and he was trying to hit on me, you know? And I just was like, no. You know, like, you seem kind of scary to me. I don't know where you're from, where you live. And I realized, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm being racist, you know? So I gave him a chance, and, you know, I looked past my own, you know, stereotypes, and he was a good guy. We were friends. So, like, you gotta take situations like that and kind of, like, make a mental check in your head. Don't do that, you know? Don't do that. Sorry, I get nervous talking about it. It's something I usually don't talk about.
So what do you base most of your art off? Is it just different things that you think of, or?
It's usually my aesthetic. I don't know. It's just whatever I'm feeling at the time. I try to make my art like something that I would like to hang in my house. That's just my thoughts on art. A lot of people think that like art is what is it?
Way to communicate.
Way to communicate or express your feelings. That's what I was trying to say. But I usually do it to just get out of my head. You know? I write a lot. I like to write. Because there's a lot of emotion you can put in your writing. And poems and stuff like that. Short, easy. Says everything. You know?
What else do you do to like just stay away from things? Do you like read to get like just escape from reality for a little bit, or do you just draw and write?
I read a lot. I hang out with my friends a lot. My friends do make racial jokes, but I know that they don't mean it. You know, I make white jokes. I mean, it's just something that's gonna happen. But I hang out with my friends a lot. They help me. Not be so bitter. But I'm just like a strong person. And I mean, that doesn't sound very humble, but I mean, what else am I supposed to say about myself? I've gone through a lot of things to get where I am and be the person I am. I'm not gonna deny that I'm strong. I'm a strong, independent black woman. So, you know, I can't help it. You good? Got what you need?
Yeah.
I think so.
Do you feel well educated?
I feel like I'm understanding more about how you're going through all this and how it feels to you.
Do you think you guys' lives would be a lot different if you were of another minority?
Definitely, because then you'd be judged more and more just because of how you look instead of how you're actually acting.
Yeah. Do you think that your childhood would be a little different?
Definitely.
I remember when I was a kid, I was afraid to wear my hood up because I would be labeled as a hoodlum, you know, black gangster.
Yeah, that actually happened in our book. Police were tailing Justice just because he had his hood up.
Yeah, I was always afraid of that. I would never, ever put my hood up in public. Ever. So, yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
I'm glad we could get so much information.
Yeah.